Yu Jun-hyuk's attribute evolved, and the game flowed smoothly like water. The participant Yu Jun-hyuk has killed the helper founder of humanity. The participant Yu Jun-hyuk has won the Living Legend title. The constellations hadn't yet adapted to the game and weren't able to follow Yu Jun-hyuk's movements. The constellations were inferior to Yu Jun-hyuk in terms of utilizing game items, understanding the terrain, and the extra buffs. The participant Yu Jun-hyuk has started to write a new myth on this mythical battlefield. The participant Yu Jun-hyuk is raising his name in the rankings of the mythical battlefield. Victory or defeat that was decided in an instant. The time limit for the first game is over. The winning team will be determined based on the points obtained during the time limit. The winning team of the first game is the Yu Jun-hyuk Kimdokcha Industrial Complex. We got a total of 6 points. In addition, the sentence we took away from the opposing team meant we had 2 sentences. The flower of the story blooms in the cruel demon territory. Jang Hayang stared at the sentence we had obtained several times before looking up blankly. We really won? Yes. I also didn't feel it was real. No matter the situation, we obtained the first victory against the mighty constellations. It wasn't a level to be elated by the fact that things went as planned. The Demon King of Lust and Fury is looking at you with interest. Many constellations are cheering for the Yu Jun-hyuk Kimdokcha Industrial Complex. You have obtained 100,000 coins each as a reward for the first game. I was able to see Yu Jun-hyuk approaching from a distance. I wanted to say something nice, but Yu Jun-hyuk opened his mouth first. The messages were sent by this person. Before I could ask what he was talking about, Biyu popped out of Yu Jun-hyuk's arms. Biyu seemed invigorated as she swung the Uriel doll like it was a toy. The constellation demon like Judge of Fire insists that she didn't do anything. Biyu threw the doll into the air and entered my arms. I stroked her head a few times before asking Yu Jun-hyuk who had grabbed the doll. Where the hell did you go? I went to the vicinity of Melodon. Why there? There was an item I had to obtain. Item? What is it? You don't need to know. Yu Jun-hyuk's expression was somewhat dissatisfied as he stared at me. In addition, I thought it would be helpful to start at an unexpected position for the selection. It was a good judgment. In the first round, the spawn location differed depending on where you were when the game had started. Yu Jun-hyuk hadn't departed from the same place as us and was able to farm items using a completely different route. This made it easier for him to aim at the enemies. Ha 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 ha, something amazing happened. However, the game isn't over until it ends. I heard Bi-hyung's voice from the air. His expression seemed somewhat excited because we won. 5 minutes later, the second game will start. It wasn't the time to be drunk on victory. This game had a total of 3 rounds. I looked over at my weary party members. The bodies of the dead Samyong-gang and Osu were revived again. Now we just need to win one more time. The game is over if we win 2 rounds first, so everyone just try a bit harder. I tried to cheer them up, but the condition of my party members was not good. Samyong-dang, why do you look like that? Samyong-dang had turned into a wooden gong that was making a rattling sound. That I spent too much of my probability. In this game, death didn't mean the disappearance of the incarnation body. However, the thing that remained unchanged was the number of resources consumed. Osu? Yep. Just like Samyong-dang, Osu died in the last game, and he was now almost as small as a guinea pig. It seemed that they had overconsumed their probability and energy in the last game. The constellations of the same rank had significant differences in level due to the quantity and quality of their accumulated stories. It was Han Myung-oh who opened his mouth. I can't do it anymore. Han Myung-oh had run safely away until the end of the first game. He was like a lizard as his cut-off legs slowly grew. Nevertheless, his face had aged 10 years during the short period. It's fine. You worked hard. No matter how much their power was suppressed, the opponents were still constellations. He had faced the status of a constellation for more than an hour, and any normal incarnation would collapse. The small consolation was that the Breaking the Sky Master was unharmed. Whoa, whoa. In the first game, the Breaking the Sky Master helped Yu Jun-hyuk hunt one of the constellations. Me, Yu Jun-hyuk, Jang Hayang, and the Breaking the Sky Master. Now, there were only the 4 of us in the team. Understandably, 4 wasn't enough to win the game. Then Yu Jun-hyuk opened his mouth. I will try to call additional power. Do you have any constellations? I don't know if reinforcements will come in time. I'll just put them on the list for now. I had no idea of who he would call. Did Yu Jung-hyuk have any connections during this period? Yu Jung-hyuk continued talking. We have to change our plan in the second round. Our positions as well. Why? Can't we just do it like last round? At Jang Hayang's question, Yu Jung-hyuk glanced at me and silently shook his head. I ended up answering instead. Yu Jung-hyuk's attribute is powerful, but it isn't invincible. It seems almost invincible. It was because the constellations didn't know much about this game. From the second round, the penalty on stats would be slightly released. The constellations who would look down on us would start to collect attributes and skills related to the game, and would narrow the gap using an enormous amount of coins. Yu Jung-hyuk might have ruler of amusement, but there was a limit to him alone. I pondered for a moment before declaring to the party members, I have an idea. We have decided to cooperate with the Birkin Industrial Complex. Are you telling me to join forces with Papyrus? It isn't the time to cover hot water with cold water. A deep sigh emerged from Duke Melodon, who resembled a rhinoceros. All the constellations on the battlefield had been destroyed by a single incarnation. They were caught off guard and hit in the back, or had a sword piercing their feet. There were even constellations who fought against him one-on-one and were defeated. We can't let them win this time. You should know this. Don't worry. I was careless in the last round, but this time will be different. Founder of humanity, Manu, gritted his teeth as he raised the permanent spear. I haven't learned enough about this game. In fact, messages had been coming from the air for a long time. The constellation Founder of Humanity has purchased the Special Game Talent skill. The constellation Thunder-Eating Bird has purchased the 1-week Game Master item. The Dokabes were grinning widely at the sudden buying binge. Oh my constellations! Going to this extent! The constellations didn't like this expression on the Dokabes, but the more important thing was their pride, which had been crushed by the incarnation. Let's go. The game started and the constellations moved in unison. The influence of the attributes and items was great. They used the terrain to cover their actions and were fully aware of how their stigmas and skills were applied to this game. The all-rounder of the team was the incomprehensible incarnation. If they killed him, the game would end. Over there. The thunder-eating bird glid down and created strong winds. Amidst the windswept bushes, the owner of the sword was revealed. It was Yu Jung-hyuk. Now! The moment that Duke Melodon gave the signal, 4 constellations rushed at once. It will be different than before! The Founder of Humanity swung his spear, followed by a ray from King Oedipus. Yu Jung-hyuk couldn't avoid the attack, and blood flowed from his forearm. The shadow of the General of Venara split up and pursued the gap revealed by Yu Jung-hyuk. A sharp rod brushed past Yu Jung-hyuk's side. There was the sound of flesh being hit. Now the power of the constellations was limited to 30%. That damage that Yu Jung-hyuk received was different from before. However, Yu Jung-hyuk held up well despite the constellation's onslaught. What? Isn't he dead? Duke Melodon felt it was strange and used a skill to figure out Yu Jung-hyuk's physical state. Surprisingly, Yu Jung-hyuk still had more than 70% of his health remaining. This guy's health is a bit strange. Don't tell me. Then the screams of the constellations were heard from his rear. The enemies probably believed that Yu Jung-hyuk was an all-rounder. Breaking the Sky Master! The Breaking the Sky Master flew forward at my signal. Like a spear of light dividing the space, the Breaking the Sky Master penetrated the torso of the thunder-eating bird who was aiming at Yu Jung-hyuk. The battered bird fell down, and the Breaking the Sky Master tore at the bird's torso with her fangs. As soon as our position was exposed, the nearby constellations started to run this way. There were a total of 3 constellations rushing over. The long-distance damage dealer, Jang Hayang, received an agility penalty, so there was no chance of winning when it was close combat. Even so, the situation was different this time. Kim Dokcha, buy me 10 seconds. Understood. Jang Hayang took a stance, his left hand forward while his right fist was pulled back to his shoulder as he started gaining strength. Jang Hayang has used the points earned to unseal a specific skill. The helper Jang Hayang is preparing the ultimate. In this game, stigmas and skills over a certain power level were treated as ultimate. In addition, the ultimate could only be released with points obtained in the game. Jang Hayang used the points we had earned as an assistant. The helper Jang Hayang has activated Breaking the Sky Force Punch level 10. There was the sound of a cannon bursting, and a mighty wind was created as Jang Hayang's fist tore through the space. The wind crushed the ray of light coming from King Oedipus and blew away 2 of the running constellations. Breaking the Sky Force Punch. I had seen it in Ways of Survival. It was a technique made out of boredom by the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint who pursued the path of the sword. I didn't know she could make such a powerful technique when bored. The helper Jang Hayang has killed the helper Thunder-Eating Bird. The helper Jang Hayang has neutralized the helper General of Vinara. I thought it would be a success just defeating 1 constellation, yet 1 constellation died and 1 suffered a fatal wound. Didn't I say that I was a hard worker? Jang Hayang laughed, despite obviously overdoing it. Even Jang Hayang would find it hard to achieve such rapid growth. Maybe he made a deal with the unidentified wall. Kill him! The enraged constellations ran in a messy manner. Jang Hayang also ran towards them. Kim Dokcha, go! Do it according to the plan. If I tried to save Jang Hayang here, the time would be delayed. This time, it was me who had the sentence. Shortly after I ran towards the gorge, a scream was heard from behind me. The helper, Breaking the Sky Master, has been killed. The helper, Jang Hayang, has been killed. Shit. Fortunately, Yu Jin-hyuk was still in good shape. Whether he was a tanker or an all-rounder, Yu Jin-hyuk was Yu Jin-hyuk. I went down to the bottom of the canyon, and dark fog started to pour into the vicinity. I had calculated this. If the fog had begun, the monster would soon appear here. Then a constellation was felt from above the rocky terrain. You are quick, Demon King of Salvation. It was an unexpected move. Melodon's side should be tied up with Yu Jin-hyuk. How did they already reach here? The moment I saw the shadow on the canyon rocks, I realized what happened. There was the shadow of a giant mummy and a goddess with a pointed scorpion tail. They were the constellations of Birkin, who hadn't been seen in the last game. The last pharaoh, Cleopatra, and the scorpion goddess, Serket. Surprisingly, King Oedipus of the Melodon camp could also be seen. I smiled bitterly. I see. You have decided to join forces. Serket's tail swelled up and fired a stinger towards me. I was about to avoid the attack when old bandages released by the last pharaoh wrapped around my ankles. Close-range damage dealers were vulnerable to long-range damage dealers. My movements were limited, so it was obvious I would die like this. King Oedipus seemed ready to finish things. I reflexively curled up. A powerful storm swept over my body. I could hear laughter of the constellations. It was a laugh that was convinced of my death from this blow. You have converted the points won in the last game. You have unlocked a certain skill with the points. I slowly raised my body in the dust. The laughter disappeared from the constellations' faces as they saw me. The constellation poked out his eyes, is astonished. The constellation Scorpion Goddess has wide eyes. The white fur wrapped around me and protected me without a single scratch. The exclusive skill bookmark has been activated. Oh, it had been a long time since I used the 3rd bookmark. I had been hesitant to use this bookmark for quite some time. I didn't think it was polite to my Dokubi. Your understanding of this person is very high and the skill abilities are strengthened. The exclusive skill, Beast King's Sensitivity level 10, +1, has been activated. I felt the warmth of BU curled up in my arms. The 3rd bookmark, Beastmaster Shin Yusung. I looked up at the constellations on the canyon with the white fur wrapped around me. The participant, Demon King of Salvation, will receive the position compensation effect. I didn't have the same attack power as Yu Jin-hyuk, nor could I learn things quickly like Jang Hayang. However, I had something better than them. I'm sorry, but I'm the all-rounder in this game. The Demon King selection would end in the 2nd round.